Howdy folks, I got a lot to go over today. We've got a fun cocktail that uses carrot juice. We've got a root vegetable controversy. We've got puns. I've got a new gadget to show you. It's gonna be awesome. Let's go. So today's drink comes once again from one of my bosses at work, Brett Adams. This one's from a few years ago when he ran a local bar program for a hotel chain. There was a Mexican-themed restaurant bar inside of a hotel, and this is one of the drinks he came up with for that restaurant. And it's called Carrot On My Wayward Son. There'll be peace when you are done. Now, you're gonna need a couple of different things for this recipe, which is actually something I've noticed about his drinks. He'll go for not just one sort of unusual ingredient, he'll usually go for two unique ingredients, which you can see evidence of from the Violet Beauregard, where we used cornflake-infused mellow corn, but also a blueberry syrup. Go check out that video if you want to. Okay, so the first thing you'll need to make this is carrot juice. I found some at my local sort of hippie grocery store, but if you have a juice extractor, that would work great, of course. I've also read that you can put them in a blender with some water and strain out the juice that way. I decided just to buy some. Now, the second interesting thing you'll need for this is sweet potato syrup, which brings me to my root vegetable controversy. Now, in my mind, a sweet potato is like, an orange thing, sort of a root, sort of pointy at one end with sort of a brownish orange skin. But then there's also something called a yam, which in my mind is like sort of a pale yellow kind of root vegetable. But when I went to the store, this is what I saw. So I bought the thing labeled sweet potato. Now, I decided to look online to see if I bought the right thing. And online there is a few different sort of conflicting notions. Further research seems to indicate that here in America, everything that's available is a sweet potato, that we don't get yams here. Yams are native to Asia and Africa, and everything that I can get in the store is just a variety of sweet potato. Now, I went ahead and made the syrup, which at what I thought at this point was a yam, and I didn't like it very well. It didn't have a lot of flavor. It just tasted like simple syrup, really. I decided I needed to go back and get the orange thing that at this time I thought was called a yam, but now come to realize that it's actually just a variety of sweet potato. Anyway, it turns out that the garnet yam is a sweet potato, or that it isn't a yam at all, it's a sweet potato, that everything is a sweet potato. So I made the syrup with the garnet yam, and that turned out a lot better. So if you're gonna make this recipe, whatever it says at the store, get an orange sweet potato. Don't get a pale yellow hard one, because those don't taste very good. Yeah, so now I have two varieties of sweet potato syrup, one that's pretty good and one that I don't really care for, but I'll probably just use it up in sours and stuff. It mostly just tastes like syrup. Anyway, that leads me to my new gadget. I got a Sous Vide for Christmas, so I figured I'd use it to make the sweet potato syrup for this drink. Now, I've been using a Sous Vide at work for quite a while, which is very convenient for work because you can have a lot of consistency from one batch to the next. There's no questions about how high the heat is on the stove or something like that. It's always at a consistent temperature. You just follow a recipe, and the first batch of syrup will be very similar to the last, which is important when you're at a bar and you're maybe making a bunch of different batches of the same syrup over the course of weeks or months. Here at the home bar, it's not really all that important that you have, perfect consistency from one syrup to the next, but I thought it'd be fun to play around with anyway. And if you have any good recipes or like sous vide specific tips or tricks, let me know down in the comments. This particular sous vide runs only on an app. There's no buttons or anything at all. And the app that they have you use is a little bit persnickety. It doesn't always like to connect. It has to connect via Bluetooth, and so sometimes it loses its connection. I'm not really endorsing this product, but it's the one I have. By the way, at work we have a sort of big fancy vacuum sealer thingamajig that is very cool. But here at the house I don't have any of that. I'm just using Ziploc bags, which seem to work just fine. But as long as you're not got a hole or an old bag, if you're using a sort of a newish bag that won't leak, then you'll probably be fine. Although I do need to get some kind of a better container for doing the sous vide in, something where I can seal the lid a little bit tighter. But baby steps, baby steps. So anyway, for the sweet potato syrup, I took my garnet yam, I cut it up into little cubes, put it into the Ziploc bag with an equal weight of sugar, and then I did an amount of water about 2/3 the weight of the sugar, so I'll end up with approximately a 1.5 to 1 simple syrup flavored with garnet yam, sweet potato. I cooked it at 180 for about 3 hours. Then I threw it in the blender real quick to give it a little zazz, and then strained it out in my nut milk bag. And there you have it, sweet potato syrup. Let's actually just give it a quick taste. I use turbinado sugar, and it's very close to just sort of a straight, simple syrup. Sort of an extra vegetal note to it. I mean, it tastes good, but it isn't like super duper flavorful. Anyway, that's enough talking and special ingredients. To the montage. Carrot on my wayward son. Carrot on my wayward son. Son. Carrot on my wayward son. Alright, we did it. I mean, look at that color. That is an amazing orange color. The egg foam looks spectacular. Let's give it a try. The mezcal comes through beautifully. It's very creamy texture, very smooth. I mean, the carrot juice is a little sweet. It doesn't taste like super strongly of carrots, but it lends the whole thing a sort of softness. The lime is there to sort of support and give a little tartness to it, but it's very well balanced, and it's sort of long without being thin, if that makes sense. It's sort of an ounce and a half of carrot juice is kind of a lot, you know, and carrot juice isn't thick, but the sweet potato gives it a thickness, and the egg white gives it a rich body as well. I mean, that's delicious. Now, I'll be perfectly frank, I feel like you could do this without sweet potato syrup, with just regular simple syrup, because the sweet potato, it isn't a very strong flavor, not in this drink. Not with the mezcal, the carrot, and the lime sort of competing for your attention, but this is delicious. Another sip. Beautiful color, very easy drinking, like a very fun margarita. I mean, you could drink these all day. These are terrific. I've got more carrot juice. I'm gonna keep making more of these for the rest of the weekend because, I mean, yum. Now, conclusions. My conclusion, get yourself some carrot juice. That's pretty delicious, pretty fun to play around with. It's a little bit sweet, but not overly sweet. I feel like it just lends such a fun aspect to different drinks. I bet you could even add acid to the carrot juice itself, acidulate the carrot juice. If you wanted to do something with less volume in it, if you wanted to leave out the lime juice, for example, you could do that. amazing. All right, hopefully that was entertaining and or informative. If you've got any great ideas for sous vide, put them down in the comments. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.